あんたなんか産むんじゃなかった。
Welcome to WatchMojo, and today we're counting down our picks for the most notable anime that only need a single episode to make you cry.
久しぶりのリーブ入りがかかってたのに。
まさか息子にぶっちぎられるとはね。
Number 10, Plastic Memories.
すいません。最初はターミナルサービスですけど。
On their first day on the job for robot retrieval, Tsukasa and his android partner Isla are given a real doozy. Finding the childlike automaton, Nina, is the easy part. Getting her owner, Chizu, to part ways with her is a very different story. Turns out the two had become something of a family over the years.
あんたたちはあの子のことを消耗品としてしか見てないかもしれないけどね。私にとっては唯一の家族なんだ。
Whether you're a parent or not, it's easy to understand why Chizu struggles with saying goodbye. But through some hard conversations and more than a few tears, she finally realizes it's time for Nina to move on. For a show about androids, Plastic Memories sure has a lot of heart. That's all we're saying.
心配しなくても大丈夫だよ。
そっか。それじゃあおばあちゃん。
Number 9, Chainsaw Man.
家に食いもんねえし、今月はこの金で暮らさなきゃいけねえから。落ちた。今日の飯食パン1枚だぜ。
At the start of Chainsaw Man, Denji's pretty down on his luck. His dead father left him indebted to the Yakuza. He's working himself to the bone, and he has to spend part of his meager earnings to feed his pet Pochita. And that's just the first few minutes.
腹減って眠れねえ。寝れねえと借金のこと考えてもっと寝れねえ。
Denji's situation goes from bad to worse when the mob decides to turn his fee into a blood debt. But in a moment guaranteed to make your heart skip a beat, Pochita sacrifices his life to give Denji another shot at his. And wouldn't you know it, he was the Chainsaw Devil. Cue the revenge killing. Watching mobsters get torn to shreds has never been so satisfying.
悪魔はぶっ殺さねえとね。
Number 8, Your Lie in April.
昴生はピアノやってるんだから共通の話題があった方がいいじゃん。
If you play a musical instrument, go ahead and pack your box of tissues now. Your Lie in April is all about a musical prodigy named Kosei. He only took up piano to appease his dying mother, and she showed her appreciation with violence instead of love. But when she's gone, Kosei still can't find it in him to quit. Even if he doesn't enjoy music anymore, at that point, it's all he has left.
ピアノは嫌いだ。それでもしがみついているのはきっと僕には何もないから。
It's a heart-wrenching position to put anyone in, let alone someone in junior high. Kosei's friends support him the best they can, but in the show's first 20 minutes, there's nothing they can do to numb the tragedy.
昴生も行こう。
僕はいいよ。
Number 7, Bunny Drop.
あの子、おじいちゃんの隠し子みたいなの。
はぁ？じいさんの子供？
Rin's only crime is being born at the wrong time. She's the very young daughter of the Kawachi family grandfather, and when he finally passes, Rin's left ostracized from the rest of the family. Well, almost all of them. After realizing no one else stepped up to take care of the 6-year-old, Daikichi gives up everything to become her father.
俺んち来るか？
ちょっと大吉、お兄ちゃん。
Full disclosure, he's a listless bachelor who doesn't know a thing about raising a young girl. But the fact that he tries is enough to make Rin burst into tears. And she's not alone. From the tragedy to found family, the first episode of Bunny Drop really has it all.
うまいよ。
Number 6, Cross Game.
スイミングスクールまで自転車で送ってって。
Come on, how sad could an anime about baseball really be? Against our better judgment, the answer is really, really sad. Before the first pitch is ever thrown, Cross Game introduces you to Ko and Wakaba. lifelong neighbors who have more chemistry than a science class. But sadly, Wakaba doesn't live to see the second episode.
あさっての夕方には帰ってくるからね。その次の日は夏祭りに行くんだからね。
Instead of shying away from the heavy subject matter, the show fearlessly explores Ko's journey through his grief. It all comes to a head in the episode's final minutes, when the boy finally lets it all out in one good cry. If this grand slam of emotions doesn't give you chills, we aren't sure what will.
クローバー、マメ科の多年草。4つの葉は幸福をもたらすという。
Number 5, Kotora-san.
はるかちゃんのバカ嫌い。はるかちゃんなんか知らない。もう絶好よ。
Right off the bat, this show proves that superpowers are not always popular. Haruka's ESP may seem cool, but to everyone around her, she's a freak. As a result, the anime's opening minutes are a depressing montage of Haruka being shunned by every person she meets, including her own parents. Thankfully, this starting chapter has a happy ending. When Haruka saves the well-meaning Yoshihisa from a speeding car, he doesn't just thank her, he calls her his friend.
俺がお前と一緒にいる。何があっても離れてなんかやんねえ。どうだ。
After a whole episode of Haruka being belittled and made fun of, seeing her make a true, honest friend is like a breath of fresh air. It's no wonder it left her all misty-eyed.
よろしくな、琴浦。
真鍋くん。
Number 4, Violet Evergarden.
生きていらっしゃるのですか、少佐は。
This anime literally opens with all-out war, and that's not even the most affecting part of the episode. Soon enough, we meet Violet, a woman devoted to the bloody struggle until she loses her arms. After receiving 2 prosthetic limbs, Violet begins work as a ghostwriting postal worker, and more importantly, she starts to follow her own ideals.
でもこれから君はたくさんのことを学ぶよ。だけど学ばない方が知らない方が楽に生きられるかもしれない。
It's a fairly straightforward premise, but it's executed with so much emotional maturity you can't help but be mesmerized. After all, there's just something incredibly moving about a person who yearns to understand love. Even though Violet Evergarden starts with war, the theme of its first episode is that of hope.
愛してるを知りたいのです。
Number 3, Oshi no Ko. When it comes to emotionally charged beginnings, Oshi no Ko takes the mother load.
今のままじゃこの子たちを幸せにできない。
Despite the exhausting tribulations of idol life, Ai devotes everything she has to raising her twins, Aqua and Ruby. But then, out of nowhere, she dies. Her bloodthirsty stalker finds her, and Ai barely has time to say goodbye to her kids before she's gone.
あんまりいいお母さんじゃなかったけど、私は産んでよかったなって思ってて。
The word devastating doesn't do this moment justice. In fact, it defies description altogether. If anything, Ai's death is so unfairly tragic, it almost makes you angry. She was a remarkable person, and it's just plain cruel that her kids only got her for one measly episode.
あ、そうだ。ママ、行ってきます。
Number 2, To Your Eternity.
ありとあらゆるものの姿を写し取り変化することができる。
The soon-to-be-named Fushi begins life as an orb before evolving into a rock and later a wolf. Soon enough, he bonds with a young boy in search of his people, learning about humanity as he goes. Sadly, Fushi's next lesson is that, for there to be life, there must also be death. Instead of his village, the boy finds only gravestones and later passes on himself.
僕、君にお願いがあるんだけど、僕のこと 覚えていて、
It's a lot for a single episode to cover, but somehow, To Your Eternity pulls it off with remarkable tact, particularly in its cathartic ending when Fushi takes on the form of the boy he once knew. It's clear that To Your Eternity is something special.
それは人間の姿を獲得した。
Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure to go into your settings and switch on notifications. Number 1. Frieren, Beyond Journey's End.
終わってしまったな。
そうだね。僕たちの冒険はこれで終わりだ。
They're starting with a bang, and then they're starting with a whimper. Frieren chooses the latter to great effect. Early on, our hero learns that while decade-long quests are nothing to an elf's lifespan, they're everything to a human's. Frieren takes her mortal friend on one last adventure, watches him pass on, and then grapples with how much she took life for granted.
人間の寿命は短いって分かっていたのに、なんでもっと知ろうと思わなかったんだろう。
From there, Beyond Journey's End continues to explore the realities of death with a wisdom that most shows take seasons to develop. That is to say, Frieren's debut is a brilliant think piece that will have you weeping, cheering, and then weeping all over again before the first credits even roll.
まあ、不死とは言わず、ほんの少しでいいから、時間が欲しくなったのです。
What first episode of an anime made you cry? Let us know in those comments below.
これから先、いろんな人に会っていろんなことを感じるだろう。少年がそうしたかったように。
Did you enjoy this video? Check out these other clips from WatchMojo and be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.